The European Union, alongside its international partners, has consistently condemned Russian aggression in Ukraine since the conflict began. The EU has shown unwavering support for Ukraine through continuous supplies of advanced weaponry and substantial financial aid, aiming to bolster Ukraine's defense capabilities and stabilize its economy amidst the ongoing war. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, however, does not align with the EU's stance on Ukraine. Unlike other EU member states, Orbán has frequently accused the EU of exacerbating the Russia-Ukraine war, highlighting a significant rift within the Union regarding its foreign policy approach.
The performance that characterized the Commission's work over the past 5 years was a poor performance. We have failed in the green transition. We will destroy European industry if things continue like this. In the matter of war, we are not focused on peace, but on war participation on behalf of the Ukrainians. We talked a lot about migration, but they keep coming. So I think that the people of Europe should get a lot more than the previous 5-year period. But von der Leyen is not our political opponent.
Following Hungary's recent assumption of the EU Council presidency, Prime Minister Orbán's peace mission to Moscow, where he met with President Vladimir Putin, has raised significant concerns within the EU. This visit, perceived by many as a deviation from EU policy, has intensified scrutiny over Hungary's impartiality in its presidential role.
There were voices of disappointment that the presidency does not do what its envisaged role is, which is to be the spokesman of the agreed EU position rather than just of its own national interest. If everybody else behaved that way, the Union would never have been concluded and probably couldn't survive.
EU partners largely view these trips as undermining their collective support for Kyiv. This diplomatic outreach has deepened skepticism about Hungary's role and led to discussions about potentially stripping Hungary of its presidency if its actions continue to conflict with EU policies. The EU has already taken steps by revoking Hungary's right to host the upcoming meeting of foreign and defense ministers due to its controversial stance on the war. This decision underscores the worsening rift between Hungary and other EU member states. These informal ministerial meetings, typically held every 6 months, they will now take place in Brussels rather than Budapest, a move symbolizing the EU's disapproval of Hungary's recent actions. We need to send a signal, even if it is symbolic, EU Foreign Affairs Chief Josep Borrell stated in Brussels on Monday, explaining the decision to relocate the ministerial meeting.
I understood that we have to send a signal, even if it is a symbolic signal, that being against the foreign policy of the European Union and disqualifying the policy of the European Union as the party of war has to have some consequences. Well, formal consequences, symbolic consequences, nothing grave will happen, but I think it was much more appropriated to show this feeling and to call for the next Foreign and Defense Council meetings, informal, in Brussels, when we come back from holidays.
Hungary's response to this decision was dismissive, with Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó describing it as completely childish and akin to being in a kindergarten.
What a fantastic response they have come up with. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, but it feels like being in a kindergarten.
Orbán's meeting with Putin, which came shortly after Hungary took over the Council presidency, was part of a broader peace mission that also included visits to Ukraine, China, and US presidential candidate Donald Trump. This trip has been widely condemned within the EU, with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen labeling it as mere appeasement. European leaders have criticized Orbán for lacking a mandate to negotiate on behalf of the EU and for sending a wrong signal regarding the Ukrainian struggle for freedom. This conflict reflects Hungary's ongoing disagreements with the EU's approach to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, including Orbán's previous veto of a major aid package to Ukraine.